about you is that you have ambition to be great. My job is to coach you to get all that greatness out of you.
What's good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one. I hope everyone is having a fantastic Thursday. And really, I hope all of you guys enjoyed the show last night with Nick Hicks. It's always a good time, getting together. We have such good conversations privately. It's nice to have a conversation like that in front of you guys publicly, so you guys can, see a little bit of, how we interact and this stuff we kind of talk about. Obviously, it's a little bit more structured than our normal conversations, but shout out to Nick Hicks, man. I mean, that's the homie. That's that's the boy right there. He's such a good guy. He's a supporter of me, and I'm just so blessed to have people like that in my life who hold me down, who support me, and who will go out of their way to show their support for me, man. I just, he's a fantastic person. So, man, I can't say enough thank yous to him at all. Um, Guys, I wasn't able to talk about minicamp yesterday, um, obviously because we had the interview and stuff like that. But I normally would have done, a minicamp show. If you've been following me on my Patreon, I've been posting updates the past 2 days of things I've heard in regards to what's been going on at camp and such like that. So, the Connor Williams story coming out today was really not a surprise to a lot of my patrons, because for not just yesterday, but for quite some time, they've heard that Dieter's been struggling. And so obviously Dieter had some serious issues yesterday, and now that's turned into where we're at with the Connor Williams thing. So, even on Patreon, I'll talk about it here when we get into the Connor Williams stuff. But, I've even put up the projected offensive line that I've been told that the staff is most comfortable with right now. And from my understanding, the offensive line that they seem to be rolling with right now is Terron Armstead at left tackle, Liam Eichenberg at left guard, and then Connor Williams at center, Robert Hunt at right guard, and then Austin Jackson at right tackle. That's the current combination I've been told by multiple people. I even had someone tell me, hey, I've heard the offensive line they're working with today and blah, 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 blah. And I said, let me guess. You heard this person here, you know what I mean? Connor Williams at center, Eichenberg at left guard, Jackson at right tackle. And he was like, oh, yeah, they bang on. So that's what the word's been. I don't know how I really feel about that yet. I've got to see in action. But here's the thing. And I'm not trying to sell hope or anything like that. The coaches we have in place, like Frank Smith and Mike McDaniel and everyone we have in place right now, they've earned the right for us to trust them. You know what I mean? We gave Flores and his staff 3 years to get it right. Let's be honest, Mike McDaniel himself, along with the people he's brought in on the offensive side of the football, are much more qualified than any single person that's walked through those set of doors right over there behind the Lombardi trophies into the Baptist Health Facility. No one's been as qualified as the current offensive staff we have. That's just what it is right now. That's just it. That's just a fact. So I'm gonna put some trust in them. We put trust last year into Flores getting this offense right. We all saw how it worked out. And there was an article that came out yesterday, and I'm gonna go over it first because it's been mentioned in every single article today. I wanted to go over it yesterday. Me and Nick alluded to quotes from it, but I would have went over it yesterday, but I didn't have a chance. Again, the interview. So I'm going to go over that article here right now to start things off when I get going here into the news. And I mean, when you hear what Tua Tagovailoa says And here's the thing. I don't want to hear nothing from the detractors about, oh, well, blah, 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 blah. No. When y'all took him saying, I didn't know the playbook really, really well, to the literal period at the end of that sentence, we're going to take what he's saying in this article literally in Muscle and Fitness, and I don't want to hear a damn thing about it. All right? Because this man opens up Pandora's box. Again, I told y'all before, that whole conversation about not knowing the playbook really, really well, why I kept mentioning what he said before and after that was because the context of it was he was politely throwing Chan Gailey under the bus. Okay? I've confirmed this with multiple people into his camp. That's what was happening. That's what they thought was happening. Okay? So now, again, he's politely throwing the previous regime offensively under the bus again. But he's doing it as a collective, and he's right. And see, if you've been listening to Nick and in these Twitter spaces and stuff, when Nick goes in, you would have already know the stuff that Tua says in this article. Some of that stuff was already alluded to by Nick Hicks in Twitter spaces. And that's why we talked about it yesterday, right? And I mean, I didn't know that quote about us talking about Albert Wilson and such would go so viral, man. Instagram pages are picking it up, like crazy, like, a couple articles have quoted it and stuff like that too. When Tilly, the homie Tilly, Ahmad here, chopped it up and threw it on Twitter, that thing popped off. Man, I didn't know people, we didn't even it's I don't know, kind of crazy that that's why I kept telling all of you the stuff that I was hearing. It was not a good situation. And so when you got these Flores apologists and these apologists for the past regime, when they can't get past the 10-6 record from 2 years ago, like that freaking even mattered last year. Tell me when a 2020 record matters in 2021. I'll wait. We still went 1-7. That was inexcusable. Any coach would get fired midway through the season, but they gave him the rest of the season. So, I don't know, man. Like, when you hear, like, I was reading people's reactions and people's comments, and I didn't really thought about it, but people bringing it up like it's the Army with the whole single file line stuff. And man, it was just, and that's why I kept telling all of y'all when we hired McDaniel, it felt different. And now you hear they've been talking about the culture and the vibe for weeks and weeks and weeks. We're in a different space. And that's why I got so excited yesterday when you got new players coming into the locker room saying, we came here because of McDaniel, but they're also telling Nick, man, it feels special in that room. There's an energy in that room. It's special. It's not like anything I've been a part of. You know why that excites me? Because that ain't Tyreek Hill telling Nick Hick that. If that's Chase Edmonds never won a Super Bowl. So him telling you that special feeling, it just feels like this staff and this team is going to we're going to get over the hump this year. That playoff hump. I feel like this is how I feel with this team and this staff and how if we come in year one and we make the playoffs and we win a game, because we got the talent to win a game in a playoff game, and we go to the divisional, let's say we go on the divisional, all this team needs to do is kick the door open 1 year. And I think if this team kicks that door open this year, the playoffs, this is going to become a recurring theme in Miami. This is going to become the expectation for the next 10 years in Miami, 15 years in Miami. This is going to start we've already got the new vibe. We've already got the new culture. What else can you add to this culture? That playoff berth, that playoff hunger. And I really feel like guys like X, Tua, Waddle, Tyreek already has it, but Gesicki, Teron Armstead with what he's had to deal with in the Saints the past couple of years. Connor Williams, Chase Edmonds. Once these guys get a taste for that, I truly believe we're gonna turn into that team where, we've got to satisfy that craving every year, and that craving don't get satisfied till we go to the NFL playoffs. We are on the cusp of not being a team that just squeaks in. We are on the cusp of being a team that's top 10 in the rankings, heading preseason rankings. That's, every year the expectation is at minimum a divisional appearance, but we're always seen as a team that can contend for the AFC Championship and obviously win the division. We are on the cusp of that. That's what it feels like. That's what it honestly feels like. So, man, it's ridiculous. It's to see how close we are to be that cusp team. To be that cusp team it's just all about getting over that. And once you're over that, you stay on the other side of that line. We don't want to turn into a team and this is my whole thing with the whole Watson scenario, right? I don't want to give up all these assets and give up all this. By the way, I don't know if anyone's seen Deshaun Watson in camp, but I mean, Jesus, good Lord Almighty, it ain't pretty. The guy's still obviously super talented. I'm not sitting here, but we're the same people crapping on Tua because they're the same ones who wanted Watson for play in the underwear Olympics, and yet Watson's over there struggling in Cleveland in the underwear Olympics, but not a peep, huh? So anyways, the reason why I would say, listen, I don't want to give up the farm for Watson. If they're gonna get him on their terms, I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? Whatever. I mean, what can we do about it? What can we say about it? They want to upgrade the position. They see it as an upgrade. Cool. Just don't overpay. Just don't give an arm and a leg. Right? I maintained I would rather Tua hit so we can keep all these assets, and I'd rather continue to invest because I knew what the situation was around him. Anyways, I digress. Now, my whole reason was I don't want to give up these draft picks. I don't want to give up this capital. We wouldn't have been able to get Tyreek Hill. We wouldn't have been able to fix this offense player-wise, player personnel-wise, the way we have. Yeah, and we wouldn't have next year. Look at it next year. I've already told you guys what the plan is. The plan next year is simple. They're not going to have, we're already about $15 million over the cap, projected cap heading into next year. We're not going to have $100 million, to play with in free agency. We're not going to have $80 million. So what they've done is they've stacked the capital, hoping Tua hits. So next year, they're going to add, we got 5 picks in the first 3 rounds. That's where the influx of talent is going to come from. That's where they want the influx of talent to come from next year. Not from free agency. They want those first 5 picks. Now, sure, if Tua falls on his face, could they pivot? I still think they're going to go for a veteran. But Will Levis, QB1, all day, baby. But if we are going in the draft. But sure, they could pivot with the picks and get a quarterback out of it. But the plan, I'm telling you guys right now, the plan right now is that is their pool to add needle-moving talent. That's their pool. They expect Tua to hit. I keep telling you guys, I think he's going to give us a minimum top 12 play this year. Remember, when I say top 12 play, that means the floor is 12, the ceiling is 1. All right? He's going to give us top 12 play this year. I truly believe that. I think organically he was going to be around that number anyways, let alone now that you've upgraded the talent around him. You know what I mean? I expected a 3rd-year leap anyways. Now that I see what you've added around him, it's gone from a 3rd-year leap to a 3rd-year moonshot for me. So would I be shocked if he's like the 8th best quarterback in the NFL this year? No. But I got money on him to be MVP. I took the odds at plus 6,000 because my friend Neil Driscoll, my co-host from Phinside, made a good point. No one saw Lamar Jackson winning the MVP. Why cannot Tua? Same reason why I keep telling y'all that no one saw the Bengals come in the way they came last year. Why not the Dolphins? I'll say the same thing I've said over and over again. They added Riley Reef. We added Taron Armstead. They added Jamar Chase, which dropped T. Higgins to wide receiver 2 and dropped Tyler Boyd to wide receiver 3. We added Tyreek Hill, who's better than Jamar Chase, who drops Waddle to wide receiver 2, who's better than T. Higgins by miles. Okay. Jalen Waddle is a wide receiver 1, and we've got him as a wide receiver 2. Think about that for a sec. And then Cedric Wilson, sure, he's not Tyler Boyd, but he's damn near close. And then you look at Bowden at 4, Azukaba and Preston Williams battling out at 5 and 6. And I will tell you right now, mark it in your calendars. On June 2nd, Reason is telling you Trent Sherfield is making this team. Trent Sherfield is making this team. He has locked down Mac Hollins' role already. Barring injury, Trent Sherfield makes this team. Lock it down. I said it June 2nd. Barring injury now. But he's made this team. I'm telling you right now, he's on the 53. Anyways, you look at it, we're deeper. And I go back to this. Burrow and Tua had no gap between each other heading into last year. How was the gap created? Since he bettered their defense, big time, bettered their offensive line, drafted Jackson Carman, added Riley Reef, added a couple other guys, got better. They got 22nd overall offensive line play, not historically bad 32nd, not just 32nd, historically bad 32nd. CJ Usama was a red zone threat consistently. He got paid because of it. Gesicki kind of disappeared after the Baltimore Ravens game, okay? And clearly that was by design. After we talk about, I ain't blaming Gesicki. After we read the article we're going to read, clearly that was by design, okay? You look at all of this stuff and you compare them. Every move the Bengals did, we did it to the umpteenth, and we've upgraded an already better defense. Our guys were just tinkering the defense, and that defense we got out of the last 8 weeks, if we would have consistently held that for 17 weeks, our defense would have been better than the Cincinnati Bengals by the end of the season. But because the Bengals were consistently better throughout the season, not just 8 weeks, but 17 weeks, they statistically ranked higher than us. So you look at this, it's like, why can't we be the Bengals? It's just like, why Tua can't win the MVP? I'm not saying he's going to win the MVP, but I'm telling you why I put the money down. You know, there is a realistic possibility that Tua comes out here and the guy throws for like 4,500 yards, 32 touchdowns, and like 8 picks. There is a realistic possibility that happens this year. And it's because, like I said, people are worried about 50, 60-yard bombs. Bro, I can go out there, throw the ball 10 to 15 yards at Tyreek. Tyreek's going to take a lot of those to the house by the end of the day of it. I don't need 50 to 60-yard bombs. What I need from Tua is elite efficiency, elite accuracy, and an elite football mind. If I get those 3 things, go keep your Justin Herbert arm. Go keep your Josh Allen athleticism and arm. I don't need that. Highlights don't win Super Bowls. Efficiency wins Super Bowls. Go ask Joe Burrow. That's why Joe Burrow went from 500-yard, 5-touchdown Joey B a couple games during that season to during the whole streak, all he was efficient. Make your short to intermediate throws, the 3, 4, 5 throws that the defense is going to present to yourself. Make those throws because they'll help swing the momentum, which are testing the deep part of the field by those 3, 4, 5 throws. Don't turn the ball over. Just be efficient with the football when it's put in your hands. And even with Joey B struggling so bad at hot reads, getting his ass hit to hell to high water because he can't make the proper hot reads, which is a weakness not enough people talk about. I keep telling y'all. Okay, you know, that tells you pre-snap Joey B ain't even that far. He can't make it. He's getting killed out there because he can't make hot reads. But guess what? The efficiency and the personnel around him, ta-da! He's the number 1 quarterback in that class right now. He's higher than Herbert. What are you going to take? Rookie of the year or Super Bowl appearance? Okay? That's why I'm saying Tua can give you that. That's why so many people were excited about Tua coming out of Alabama, was because you saw traits that would translate into that uber super efficient quarterback. And that's what wins Super Bowls. That recipe I just told you about, elite efficiency, elite accuracy, elite football mind, that is literally Tom Brady's recipe to success. That is literally what he is. That is it. And that's what Tua had so many evaluators and scouts excited about coming out. Because he did the little things and had the traits that are like, this kid's going to be super efficient and he's going to make the throws when they present them. When the defense presents itself and allows you to make a throw, he'll hit them. The guy had some of the best deep touch come out of Alabama. I mean, are we serious right now? He was burning Derek Stingley, the best corner in the nation, as a rookie. And Tua in that LSU game against Joey B was burning him outside the numbers. Like, really, if Jerry Jeudy didn't have the dropsies all year and that game have 2 key drops, Tua beats LSU and Joe Burrow. Now what? And he'll beat him this year. Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins will beat the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm telling you right now. So, man, all I know is right now, with how this is rolling, how offseason is looking, how can you not check your pulse? How can you not be hyped? And listen, I know that offensive line that I'm hearing, Armstead at left tackle, Eichenberg at left guard, Connor Williams at center, Robert Hunt at right guard, and Austin Jackson at right tackle. I know that's not ideal for everyone, but you know what? I'll tell you this much. I thought Dieter would be better than at least one of the two between Eichenberg and Jackson. So, I mean, hey, I thought Dieter would be a little bit better than this, but here we are, right? So, I mean, it is what it is. All right, let's get into this, guys. We got a lot of news to go over here. And I got the pressers I want to go over. Obviously, I got news from today to go over. But I want to start off with this article I alluded to from Muscle and Fitness. Shout out to the homie Tilly. She's actually the first person I saw post anything from it yesterday. And look at this. What a champ. Sitting there drinking some muscle milk. Not a boy. Not a boy, Tua. And this is a very revealing, this is very revealing, guys. When discussing heading into his third year, it's easy to see the excitement in the eyes of Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. Given how much focus the team has placed on the offensive side of the ball, there will be plenty of opportunity to showcase the work he's put in this offseason. In 13 games last season, Tua Tagovailoa threw for 2,653 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions, while completing 67.8% of his passes. And you're about to respect those numbers a whole hell of a lot more when you hear what Tua has to say. Under new coach Mike McDaniel, the quarterback will now have Tyreek Hill and Cedric Wilson Jr. to throw to, along with Jalen Waddle. The transformation of the offense hasn't gone unnoticed by the defense during OTAs, and if everything clicks correctly, the Dolphins could be returning to the postseason for the first time since the 2016 season. Muscle and Fitness spoke with Tagovailoa about the excitement around the team during OTAs and what the Muscle Milk's athletes' offseason checklist consisted of. We've been in the building a lot earlier than expected just because of the new head coach, Mike McDaniel. We've been in the building since April 4th, I believe, and we haven't left. It was a really short offseason because when April 4th hit, we were all in the building, and it's probably the most guys I've seen in OTAs. I think the guys just want to feel out the coach, the system, and their coaches individually. Guys are excited to want to come into the building. They hear good things about our coaches, and they want a glimpse of them for themselves. I think that's a testament to Mike McDaniel as well as the guys on this coaching staff. I'm very excited. Everyone in the building is excited. The first couple of OTA practices that we've had against the defense have been really eye-openers for us as a team. You catch glimpses of how good we can be as a team, but football is one of the most humbling sports. You can never get too comfortable or too high because they'll always find a way to humble you. We're all really excited around here, but we just have to continue to take it one day at a time. On his offseason goals, One of the biggest things for me was building my foundation back up from my feet to my core and then to my arm strength. A lot of what I did was tailored to helping me get my arms stronger, becoming more mobile. With having another system to learn, this is the third system. It was really about dialing in on this new offensive system, really getting good at the verbiage, getting good at knowing where guys need to line up, and just being able to get guys in that sense and help them out. The transition to minicamp can be a lot easier with the guys being here for OTAs. I have seen some improvements on being able to push the ball downfield once again. I honestly think it's just practice. And here we go, guys. Here's the eye-opening stuff. I wasn't really able to push the ball down the field last year because we didn't have plays specifically to push the ball down the field. A lot of plays that were called last year were meant for one person. My second year was different than my rookie year. And this year, and he says either the person is open or the play might be dead. It's a little different now. My second year was different than my rookie year, and this year will be different than last year with how we go about things. I definitely feel a lot more confident being able to push the ball down the field. It's going to be exciting. Are you serious right now? Are we serious right now? I wasn't really able to push the ball down the field last year because we didn't have plays specifically to push the ball down the field. A lot of plays that we called last year were meant for one person. Either the person open or the play might be dead. It's a little different now. I want people to really take this in right now. Take this in right now. This is not good. This is how you stunt. This is schematically they were making him one read. Not even just with RPOs. But he's telling you schematically as an offense, they were making me one read. How was a kid supposed to get better at the NFL level and transitioning to the pro level and rolling through his progressions quicker, faster, and more effectively when you're doing this kind of crap? And then, you got Nick Hicks saying here on For You Guys and in Twitter Spaces that Tua has told him that Brian Flores was in his headset pre-snap telling him where to go with the football and where he wanted him to go with the football. Like, do people not realize how bad this is? And I would, dude, if Pep Hamilton was doing this for Herbert, Pep Hamilton did this to Davis Mills, I would say the same exact thing for those players. This is like big no-no stuff when you're trying to translate a quarterback, a collegiate guy to the NFL level. This is a big time stunt in growth and development. I'm not just making a big deal out of this because we're piling on Flores here. This is a big deal. This starts to explain a lot of stuff here. This starts to explain why between this and Flores telling him pre-snap where he wants to go with the football in his headset. Now we know why his pre-snap reads were so freaking wonky. Now we know why he wasn't hitting guys over the middle, i.e. a Gesicki on a drag. This explains a lot of stuff here. I cannot stress enough how bad this is. And I cannot stress enough how disappointed I am because this tells us to the level Tua has been held back to naturally grow as a quarterback rolling through his progressions. That tells you he's behind the 8-ball. That's not good, man. That is not good stuff. That's fireable offense stuff right there. I when I read that, I was absolutely floored. Because for anyone who's played football at any position, or any sport at any position in that sport, well, I mean, you know what I mean? But when you got coaches in your ears telling you the basketball, okay, I want you to drive no matter what. Or I want you to go to only this guy with the ball. You can only go down low to the post. I don't want you to go anywhere else on the court. You can only go down low to the post. Defensive coordinator are going to start keying in on that stuff. Right? Like, that is, that's and they were, right? By the end of the season, how many Tua was having to make throws in bracketed coverage, triangle coverage, box coverage to Jalen Waddle because of things like that. Because everyone knew where the ball was going. And now we understand Gesicki. I talked about Gesicki earlier. Now we understand why Gesicki was saying to Flores, that's what happens when you throw me the ball. Now that makes sense. Now that all clicks in and lines up. You see? Now it makes sense why Gesicki disappeared after the Ravens game. This is literally, it doesn't even just explain something about the quarterback. It explains other things too. Philip LeDuc, I do not think one-read offense does exist in the NFL. Seems like another cheap shot to Flores again. Not sure I agree even with Tua. Yeah, man, it does, dude. RPOs are predominantly one read. Now you can have two reads in an RPO, and I'm talking outside of the defense, reading the linebackers and the safety to decide whether you're going to hand the ball off. I'm talking about when you decide you're going to throw the football, usually you only have one or two reads. Perfect example. There was a game last year. What was it? I want to say it was a Colts game where Brissett was in. I'm pretty sure it was a Colts game. And they ran an RPO with Brissett, and he literally only had one read. And it was either Waddle or Parker at the bottom of the screen, and Brissett got rushed, and it was like a wide receiver screen or something like that, and that got swallowed up. The single read on the field got swallowed up. The other guys are running dummy routes. They weren't even looking back. So yeah, one read offenses do exist in the NFL. RPOs predominantly only have one or two reads when you throw the football. And the reason why that is so is because you don't want to give 3 or 4 reads in an RPO, because that's going to turn it into more so a passing play, because more often than not, a quarterback's going to check out when they have that many reads. When you limit the reads they have, 1 or 2, and you only give the running play as the other read to make, you kind of you put them in a position where they have to make the right call and they have to read the defense properly. So yeah, I don't know, man. That's just not good. That's not good. The offseason schedule. Mondays are heavy leg days, and then we do the on-field work. We do footwork and we're throwing. Tuesdays are more so for the long ball. It's an upper body day. We get our field work done early in the morning at 7 a.m. We do footwork and we end up throwing long balls. It's just not dropping back and throwing deep. It's throwing the long ball off rhythm, rolling out right, and throwing deep. Wednesday is more of an active recovery day. Thursdays are heavy leg days, and Friday is upper body again. Saturday is another active recovery day, and we're off on Sunday. So that's the week at Perform, which Nick already explained to you guys yesterday. I've been very fortunate to be with Muscle Milk for roughly about 3 years. Not many people have had this opportunity to say they have protein, and he gets into he kind of like he gets into bigging up Muscle Milk. But the real nugget here is, is this quote here. So I mean, it's just, that is a damning an indictment of our offensive staff last year. That is not good. That is not good, man. The more layers we peel back of what went down last year, the uglier it really does get. It's just something not pretty to look at. You know what I mean? All right. So, I got some things we want to go in here. We're gonna go over practice, and then we're gonna go over, we'll go over the pressers for today. All right, guys. So, let's get into first and foremost. Let's get into Because PFN was there. I got PFN, the Miami Herald, and the Sun Sentinel for you guys lined up. So PFN was there, and this is what PFN had to say. And there's Adam Beasley, obviously, as you all know. Tua Tagovailoa deserved to feel good, and he deserved the right to take a victory lap. Tagovailoa, according to reporters on location, had an excellent bounce back practice Thursday, completing 2 beautiful deep passes to Tyreek Hill during the team's final mandatory minicamp practice of 2022. Miami Dolphins Tua Tagovailoa shuts up the Twitter warriors. One reportedly went for 60-plus yards. The other was in excess of 50 yards. It was a great display for the assembled media, many of whom rightfully pointed out Tagovailoa's less than impressive performance the day before, which, I didn't get to go live yesterday, but I heard there was underthrows, overthrows, misreads. I heard he was very sporadic the day before, but I heard there was nice throws mixed in yesterday, but I heard he was very sporadic yesterday. The defense dominated day one from everything I heard. Even the offensive line on day one apparently struggled really badly too. And it was a great rebuttal to those questioning to his arm strength, particularly after the social media dust up from a few weeks back. He took a fair amount of grief after the Dolphins social media team posted a video that seemed to celebrate an underthrow to Tyreek Hill. But perhaps the most impressive thing Tagovailoa did came off the practice field. He showed an edge, defiance, and confidence that was largely from his 2 seasons as a pro. And I'm going to skip his quotes because we're going to go over everything. So, the highlight of today that everyone is really talking about is what he said. And you know what? Let's get into. We'll roll his. I wanted to wait them to the end, but we'll roll Tua's presser, and then we'll get into the. I got the article from the Palm Beach Post and from Miami Herald as well. You know what? Let's hop into the Herald first, and then we'll get into the Tua stuff. So, because the Herald's kind of more offensive line centric. So this came out, and basically, guard Connor Williams, he looks like he's at center right now. So details on Dolphins' decision for now at center and the fallout and practice highlights. The Dolphins, at least for now, appear to have clarity at one position that seemingly lacked it, starting center. Connor Williams said Thursday that the Dolphins told him they really likely would move him to center. And his understanding is that's the plan for the 2022 season, at least as of now. I've been told, unless like a JC Treader is about to come here and change his mind and sign, this is what we're rolling with. He has been working at the position since the offseason program began in April. Williams was a very good left guard for Dallas the past 4 years, starting 51 of his 57 game appearances. But as the Miami Herald reported weeks ago, the Dolphins believe Williams has a good skill set to play center and want to find a way to get the recent high draft pick in the lineup at other positions. Williams' move to center allows Liam Eichenberg, the 42nd pick in the 2021 draft, to potentially play left guard, which is where I've heard he's at right now, with a competition from Solomon Kinley. Eichenberg finished last season as the Dolphins starting left tackle, but the Dolphins signed Pro Bowler Taron Armstead to play that position. Remember a few weeks ago I told you guys that I heard they liked Eichenberg at guard? Well, yeah, the confirmation I got today was, he's the left guard right now. So, though team rules ban reporters from identifying lineman positions during the mandatory minicamp on Wednesday and Thursday, the Miami Herald stands by the report from early May that the plan is for Eichenberg to play left guard, Hunter remain at right guard, and Austin Jackson to play right tackle, provided he wins the job this summer. That could change naturally if Eichenberg or Jackson do not excel or are beaten out in training camp, or if Williams struggles at center. If the Dolphins change their mind about playing Williams at center, their options would be turning back to Michael Dieter, who I told you guys yesterday on Patreon. I heard he had serious snap issues yesterday. I heard he was struggling mightily. I heard he had communication issues. Like, I've heard that Dieter's been a disaster, guys. Or the signing Browns free agent JC Treader. Williams said he's enjoying the transition to center. I take pride in being wherever I'm needed to go. He said, new change, new city, playing center, fresh start. It was a nice change. I'm really enjoyed the position. In this offense and in the scheme, playing center brings out my strength. They've been very patient with me, learning the position and learning the ins and outs with with growing pains. I've enjoyed the transition. And his move to center gives the O-line a lot of flexibility, he said. Williams said the team informed him of the position change soon after he signed a 2-year, $14 million deal. Offensive line coach Matt Applebaum and offensive coordinator Frank Smith called me and they said, looking at the pieces and based off your skill set, I think we would really like to move you to center. How do you feel about that? Ever since then, I was like, let's do it. They've given me the freedom to do it, and I've been attacking it day by day. Once I was on the team and once it was decided, moving pieces around and seeing who fits best where, it came up and we took it head on from there. It's been smooth. Williams, 25, said he's played center for the first time during preseason for the Cowboys last season. He played left tackle at University of Texas. He said having to call the plays, get the declarations right is new for him. At guard, you can go brain dead for a second and make sure your blocks are good. At center, coming up to the line, you got to be on it at all times. And I told you guys this. This is the mental aspect of center is why this isn't an easy transition. And like again, I'll trust our coaching staff, but I got to see it in action. Williams has spoke to Cowboys center Travis Frederick about the position switch and also has watched tape of San Francisco's Alex Mack, among others. Learning from other centers around the league, watching the games, it's a completely different world from guard, he said. Williams said Armstead is a savvy vet, amazing player. Everyone is always leaning on him. He said Eichenberg, Jackson, and Hunt are great players who work their tails off. Some highlights from practice. Tua Tagovailoa threw 2 impressive long passes to Tyreek Hill. They traveled 45 and 51 air yards. He also threw a 5-yard touchdown to Hill as well. Teddy Bridgewater struggled early with 3 poor throws, but rallied in the second half of practice, making several good throws. Rookie safety Verone McKinley dropped what should have been an interception from Bridgewater and punished himself by doing several push-ups. The pass was intended for Cedric Wilson. No, that's not like him. On another instance, rookie edge player Cameron Good pressured Bridgewater into a poor throw. Bridgewater's good work late included multiple passes to Trent Sherfield for sizable gains, another to River Craycraft, and a 12-yarder to Lynn Bowden Jr. Christian Wilkins, Calvin Munson, and Benito Jones had excellent run stops for little or no gain. Chase Edmonds and Salvin Ahmed showed good bursts. South Carolina rookie Zaquandre White has also had a good camp. I've told you guys this for weeks. I've been hearing like they're quietly raving about him. He's been apparently like at rookie camp. I heard he was the best rookie at rookie minicamp. Sethan Carter dropped a pass from Skylar Thompson, who has been impressive, but also holds on to the ball longer than he should at times. Thompson threw a 20-yard touchdown to receiver Cody Core. One Thompson throw bounced off Quincy Wilson's helmet into the arms of Trill Williams for an interception. Zach Seiler pressured Tua into an errant throw. Tagovailoa faced pressure at times, but the offensive line wasn't beaten in protection as much as it was on Wednesday. Armstead, incidentally, has been participating in team drills as he works his way back from a minor knee procedure. Jason Sanders was 7 for 7 on field goals with a long of 53 yards. Like, thank God. I guess Morstead can actually hold a football. I mean, that's good. That's positive. So, a lot of news and notes there. From a lot of good stuff from Barry Jackson there too, guys. A lot of good stuff. And let's get into, you know what? With that, let's get into Tua Tagovailoa's presser. Then I want to get into an article about the Sun Sentinel about Tua. Then we'll get into Mike McDaniel's presser, and then I want to close off with a really good article about Melvin Ingram and his father. So let's get into Tua's presser because hey, I've already skipped over some quotes because this presser is it got me hype. Got me hype. All right, let's see it. Guys, smash that like.
It's going good.
How would you assess your performance the last 2 days and how you kind of rebounded today?
Yeah. Well, yesterday's practice wasn't up to the standard that I know our offense can compete at. And it obviously starts with me. In particular, there were some ball placement deals that I didn't particularly.
Yeah, I heard he started. Like I told you guys, I heard overthrows on the
was
throws.
A lot better. There's still some things that,
couple
weren't up to par
misreads
to our standard. But I think it was a lot better from an offensive standpoint.
How hard on yourself do you get about ball placement? Mike mentioned that. How do you work on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm I'm pretty hard on myself every time, whether it's throwing a ball where it needs to be or pre-snap operation. You know, guys aren't set, guys aren't where they're supposed to be. Because in order for the offense to function, we all got to be on the same page, and in order for us to execute at a high level, you know, we got to do things at a high level. So
Good mentality to have.
I got to be hard on myself. You know, Mike's a little different. You know, Mike is always trying to encourage you and trying to, you know, keep you going. So for me, it's a little backwards, where I'm used to myself, you know, getting hard on myself and the coach getting hard on me too. Whereas I'm getting hard on myself, and, you know, he's trying to tell me, hey, you know, it's gonna be okay. Like, you know, we're only in May, we're only in June. You know, there's a lot more time to grow, but
What's that been like?
it's been cool. It's been different. Like I said, I've never been around a coach like this, who's just extremely positive. Growing up, you know, my dad's always been hard on me. My high school coach has been hard on me. Coach Saban's been hard on me. And all the coaches that I've had prior, you know, they've all been hard on me. So he's hard, but he takes another alleyway, if you will, on kind of teaching and helping.
He seems like he's very
Okay, so like another thing I've heard is I heard a couple weeks ago, Tua, you know, Mike McDaniel sat Tua down, and one thing they wanted him to really emphasize, and they made a priority in this offseason, was for him to become a better leader and really start opening up to his teammates more and hanging out with his teammates more. From what I've been told, the coaching staff is like extremely impressed with how Tua's embraced the leadership role they've asked him to take on. So they've asked him to do things, and he's been responding to everything they've asked him to do. You know what I mean? So, man, you guys should go check that Patreon. There's some good nuggets in that Patreon post from today and yesterday. Smash that like button, by the way.
Quote yesterday in the story that came out that where you said that you think we'll be able to push the ball downfield more as opposed to last year, because last year there just weren't really plays designed to do that. Can you kind of elaborate on that and maybe what differences you see with this offense?
Yeah, if you've seen the third to the last play we had, I don't know if I could throw the ball downfield still, but by my account, I think that might have been a touchdown to Tyreek. If not, then we scored 2 plays after that to Tyreek. So, you know, however you want to write down any of that to social media or whatever outlets you guys are with, you do so.
Can you talk about
Atta boy. The edge is coming out of Tua.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Him and Tyreek are
it's-
getting that
it's pretty
timing
cool
down
having
now.
a guy like Tyreek, but you have other guys that are, you know, extremely talented, very fast as well, you know, that kind of help out with Tyreek being open. You have Waddle, you have, you know, Gesicki. So everyone has to cover every part of the field, and I mean, it should be a lot easier to get these guys the ball. Although, you know, playing against our defense,
Yeah.
it still gets tough.
Back to coach, it seems like he's very in tune with a lot of things with this team.
Yeah.
Him wearing hoodies and sweatshirts and sweating out here,
Yeah.
so he can mimic that. And then even the music, that he lets you guys pick music by being the player of the day.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that and just being an in tune guy.
Yeah, swaggy. That's what I gotta say about Coach Mike. I call him Mystic Mac. Just like Conor McGregor, this dude he loves to predict stuff. So call him Mystic Mac. But you know, the respect that he has in the locker room, it's tremendous. You know, the guys
Yeah.
love him.
Earlier about
Love it.
narrative about the arm strength. What do you think about that? That every time somebody talks,
Here we go, haters. He's calling you out.
Yeah.
Tua coming
like
for all
I
of y'all.
said, all the bad news I hear from Ann. You know, Ann tells me, hey,
On the
I don't know if you heard
communication
about
staff.
this, but they say that. I'm like, Ann, why would you want to bring that up to me? But she brings it up just so I'm aware with the questions that you guys are going to ask me. You know, for me, it's just zone that out. I mean, we come out to practice. Everyone else, Twitter warriors, you know, keyboard warriors, whatever you want to call them, you know, they're not out here practicing with us working hard. So I don't know if you guys recorded that last one to Tyreek, but
Well, we're not allowed to film that.
I don't know about you, but that looked like money.
Yes! My quarterback is coming out of his shell right now. and he calling all you out that doubt him. And I'm here for every single minute of it. Oh, this is that content that makes you sit back and just get a nice glass of Merlot and just enjoy life, baby. Wow. All right. He be Twitter warriors and keyboard warriors. God damn. And I thought, see, and the great thing is, anybody who takes offense to what he says, you told on yourself. You let us know you're one of those. Because I saw all of y'all in the comments and stuff taking credit, taking aback or taking offense to what he said and stuff like that. You'll tell it on yourself, man. Y'all tell it on yourself. He already told he zones y'all out and he doesn't care what he said. He basically just said, who are these guys to be talking about me and the throws I make when they're not the ones out here practicing? He just told all of y'all, you guys sit on a couch. He's a good enough athlete where he's at the professional level. That's hilarious. That's amazing. That's like fantastic stuff right there. Like, and then you see him get a little arrogance, a little cockiness come out about the bucket throw to Tyreek. I love it. Money Vailoa. Let's go. Let's go. The money maker, Tua Tagovailoa. Let's go. This man prints dollar bills when he throws bombs to the homie Tyreek. Let's go, man. Absolutely beautiful stuff.
Tua, you said in that interview that Daniel mentioned that improving your strength to be able to put more on your downfield passing was an emphasis this offseason. How much was that? How critical was that for you as a goal this offseason?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I put the most emphasis on my downfield throws, this offseason. Just because learning the offense was kind of the biggest thing. Getting guys set, motions, landmarks with receivers, timing.
Yep.
I think it works out better
The
that
timing
way.
alone, those throws will come with
Where
timing.
they're supposed to be.
Yep.
Pushing it down the field, it's not something we're forcing. It's something that's, there.
Yep.
Coach said that you found your voice here. He seems that you found your. It's obvious you found your voice. You feel that way right now at this point.
Well, I would say I've shown glimpses of coming out my shell with Coach, but yeah, I can be myself. That's all I can say.
Let you get down,
Woo!
but you have been practice player, and you've gotten to wear that orange jersey. Some of the guys said they could appreciate your music, and they said that you came out with some Hawaiian. Just talk about the flavor you brought to the music.
Yes, well, I try to bring a mixture of flavors. I brought some Hawaiian music. I brought some Isley Brothers. I brought some, let's see, because I had Return of the Mac.
Let's go. Mark Morrison. Mark Morrison.
If you guys say the name, I promise you.
Mark Morrison too.
Oh yes. Heck yeah. All right, so we got it right there. We also had some Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Attaboy.
No, sorry. Hey, Kodak. But we did have some Bee Gees. We had some Shaggy. We had we had some country. But yeah, I would say I love the flavor, the palette of music that I hold.
You talked earlier about
This guy's amazing.
having coaches in your past who were hard on you throughout the years. Different players, you like to talk about players having buttons to push and certain players respond to different things. Do you respond to people being hard on you or encouraging you better, do you think?
Well, I think I've been playing football for so long to where the standard has been set for me at such a young age with the way my dad, has kind of coached me. And then even at the college setting, I was more afraid of what my dad would have to tell me after the game than Coach Saban. And it still is a little like that, in the NFL. But for me, it's just I have it embedded in my mind that regardless of how another coach feels about the way I practice or I play, I know what I'm capable of doing.
Why did you feel?
Like, listen to what he says. And again, I go back to what me and Nick talked about yesterday. He's talked about coaches being hard on him and, and how Nalu's the one he has to answer to at the end of the day. And yet this guy snapped on Brian Flores after the Tennessee game. Like, he's constantly talking about how hard his coaches have been on him since he's been growing up. And yet it took Brian Flores to be the one to push him over the edge. I mean, what does that say?
What did it mean to you, a couple weeks ago when Tyreek Hill posted all the practice clips of the downfield passes that you were completing?
He posted them?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I personally didn't know that. But were they on the money? Or
Like it?
like it, take it.
Why do you feel to you that letting your guard down? When did you notice maybe you needed to do that and you felt comfortable doing that, like Coach was talking about earlier?
Yeah, that I would say that's just something that Mike would always try to get me to do, is just open up to him in the hallway or in the meeting room. He'd just pop in when I'm lifting. He just want to chat. Every opportunity he got, and so I ended up opening up a little bit to him. But yeah.
Does that bleed into the way you are with your teammates, even the media? I mean, does any of that kind of all go hand in hand?
I would say the way I am, the way I share things with him a little is sort of similar to the way I share things with the guys in the locker room. So the comfortability with him is getting pretty comfortable.
Do you consider yourself guarded?
Yes, I do.
Why?
I've always been like that ever since high school. Yeah, I mean, I'm just not one to, hey, we're friends after shaking hands. I got to really get to know you, really get to understand you, and feel comfortable. So.
Would you say this is the most open you've been since you've been here?
With the media, yes.
Tua, what's it been like learning your third offense in as many seasons, and any fun study habits or anything that you've kind of perfected at this point just to learn the new terminology and those sorts of things?
Yeah, I would say the study habits, I got a whiteboard at home that I just write down all the formations, I write down all the motions, and I have my brother or a family member or someone that's at my house, kind of tell me the formations, tell me the motions, and then I guess what I'll also do is I invite the guys over to my house, and we walk through plays, we walk through formations, and we barbecue.
You give them snacks. That was my
Food, yeah. The snacks don't work with them.
Earlier you mentioned that the defense kind of smart about how tough that can be to go against. How has that been for you going against those guys, and how does it help you kind of improve your game?
It's really good. It's tough because they know what to expect a lot of the times with what we're running, whether it's a play pass, a run play, gap scheme run plays, down the field passing. So, third down has been tough for us against them just because of the variations of zero that our defense has and runs.
That zero's coming this year still.
Tua, when you a lot of talk about the downfield passing, but on the short and intermediate stuff, especially with how Mike likes for the guys to block up front, how does that change your passing lanes, especially when you're rolling out?
Yeah, it changes a lot of it changes a lot of what we do because we have full flow of the defense because we run the ball a lot with outside zone. We have inside zone, and then when you have guys coming back across, it's hard for guys to key their guys when they're also trying to read run. So the throwing lanes coming backside, it looks good.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. I mean, this offense, first of all, you're going up against one of the most talented offenses in the NFL. But yeah, they also know what to expect. But man, iron sharpens iron. And when see, here's the thing: if we saw them start to consistently beat our defense, that would tell me we're going to have like the most high-powered offense going into the league this year, right? So, offense is always behind the curve. when it comes to defenses. That's why I wasn't surprised the defense dominated yesterday, because these guys have been kept intact. They've only been upgraded. It's the same system they've been running for 3 years, whereas you got an offense with new installs, a new coaching staff, a whole new playbook, and a lot of new personnel, whether on the line or as weapons, trying to find their way. So yeah, they're going to be behind. Rich Eisen loves salty Tua. I'm here for it, says Ian Baller. Yeah, I saw his little clip on him today. I love it, man. Tua got a chip on his shoulder. He got that edge. Like, I like it. Good. Stun on him. This is what Omar Kelly had to say in regards to it. He said plenty has been made of Tua Tagovailoa's arm strength and whether or not the Miami Dolphins starting quarterback has the ability to stretch the field with longer throws. Even though Tagovailoa connected on a half a dozen or so deep passes last season, his critics continue to question if his supposed arm limitations will limit Tyreek Hill's effectiveness. Tagovailoa and Hill did their best to silence these concerns by connecting on 2 long passes during the 11-11 periods of Thursday's mandatory minicamp practice. On the first deep ball, which Hill scored on and subsequently punted the ball to celebrate, the 6-time Pro Bowl receiver slipped Noah Igbinogheni's coverage and got behind the Dolphins' safeties, and Tagovailoa hit him in stride. On the second deep ball, which came late during the 11-11 session, Hill got behind the entire Dolphins defense by about 7 yards and had to wait for the beautiful pass from Tagovailoa, which traveled 51 yards in the air. While it's possible that Hill could have scored on the throw, the Dolphins ruled that he stopped inside the 5-yard line. I don't know about you, but that looked like money, Tagovailoa said after practice, praising the second deep ball throw. Hill scored 2 plays later on a quick inside pass, concluding Tagovailoa's day. While Tagovailoa and Hill impressed, the entire offense wasn't able to take a victory lap because Miami's defense continued to dominate the day. Christian Wilkins was a force, consistently disrupting running lanes and harassing Miami's quarterbacks. If tackling were allowed, Wilkins would have finished the day with 2 sacks and 3 or 4 tackles for a loss on run plays. There was one play where Wilkins was in Miami's backfield so fast, Salvin Ahmed barely received the handoff before getting chest bumped by Wilkins. Wilkins flexed at the end of the day, just like he's been flexing all OTAs, serving as the most dominant defensive defender in the 4 practices the media has watched. Another top performer Thursday was inside linebacker Duke Riley, who's clogging up the offensive running lanes during his package-based work, which seemed to be highlighted on Thursday. During the first 11-11 period, Riley made 3 tackles during his share of snaps. Cornerback Nick Needham broke up a Tagovailoa pass to Jalen Waddle on 3rd down. The Dolphins blitz was coming from the opposite side, and Needham was on an island with little help. The best defensive play of the day came when Quincy Wilson tipped a Skylar Thompson pass in the air that Trill Williams brought down from an interception. Teddy Bridgewater had his 3rd straight rough day during practices open to the media. He had multiple possible interceptions dropped, and his offensive line allowed a ton of pressure. Cameron Good, the Dolphins' 7th-round pick, got to Bridgewater for a would-be sack during 11-11. Rookie cornerback Elijah Hamilton drew a flag with an early hit on a receiver, but Coach Mike McDaniel seemingly waved off the penalty, saying it was legal deflection of the pass. One thing that was noticeable was tight end Hunter Long doing a much better job as an inline blocker, potentially serving as a backup to Jerem Smythe. Reserve tight end Ethan Carter also had an active day on Wednesday. You like to see that. Hunter Long stepping up. Hunter Long getting it done. Love it. Absolutely love it. So, I mean, Bridgewater continues to struggle. I mean, Skylar Thompson, QB2, and I'm not even joking right now. I've heard Skylar Thompson has the livest arm all camp. I've heard that from multiple people too. I mean, Wilkins looks like he's about to take another step forward this year. That is, if Wilkins takes another step forward, man, holy, imagine how dominant this guy is going to be. I can only imagine. I'm excited for Christian Wilkins this year. Damn. Get this man extended before, you're about to have a beast season, and we're about to, and for everyone wants to see that throw today from to Tyreek that hasn't had a chance yet. There you go, on the money. Throw it, boy. Woo! Look at Noah. Noah keeping up with Tyreek. Who wouldn't Tyreek beat? But nice to see Noah mirroring him at least better than we've seen in recent years. But let's wait till the pads come on. He's always looked like a workout warrior. So I'm not getting excited about Noah too yet. I want to see him making plays with the pads on and when they count in the preseason when he gets the opportunity. All right, continuing on. Mike McDaniel, guys. Let's get into his presser from today.
Like, you guys don't have any dry fit, like, jackets you can wear?
No, I mean, they offer them to me plenty of times during the day.
You trying to cut weight or anything?
No, honestly, it's the best way that I can kind of keep in tune to what the players are going through because I'm not sprinting around. So at least I have an idea of how hot it is. Otherwise, you'll kind of lose sight of that. And then you'll be doing too many reps and causing soft tissue injuries and all that nonsense. So.
Oh, man, I'm telling you. Listen, I told you guys this man is OCD and it's going to be such a great benefit to our staff and our players. That shows you the level of OCD this guy is at. Who would think about that? Who would think that deeply about what he wears? This is a coach that every detail gets combed over and nothing gets missed by Mike McDaniel. You got to appreciate the hell out of that.
You're a little hot once you get, I would say, like right when you drop that drink off and you walk on the
I mean, you talk about a professional dream. You know, I think one of the things that is a competitive advantage just in life is perspective. So, you know, I made a lot longer walk to go watch Denver Broncos training camp and rode on the inside of helmets. So, yeah, it's enjoyable. The responsibility is real and great. So I have to be deliberate in reminding myself that because you can get swallowed up in all the things that you have to do. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, especially, and it's a credit to the organization, the coaches, the players. It's a fun place to go to work.
Can you offer us your perspective on the way Tua's practicing, specifically his downfield passing?
He's practicing. I'm really excited about the reps that Tua's getting in this offense. I'm excited about where he's at. Today was, I talked to him. I talked to the team, and I talked to him today specifically about, I've just been waiting for those moments where you have a slight obstacle, and Tua's very, very critical on his ball placement, and he's a very accurate quarterback as a result. Yesterday, he had some throws that he demands better of himself. But like I told everybody else, that today was the first day I got to really evaluate Tua because that is professional quarterback in the National Football League. You're going to have things that you don't execute to perfection. You're going to have people talking about how you're not performing, and guess what? No one cares. It's about leading, and he had a ton of energy, and I was very, very happy with his effort today because it was one of the million reps you need at that position to handle, the scrutiny, the pressure, all that stuff. And I think his teammates have really noticed a difference in him. He's opening up. He's kind of coming in his own in that regard, and he's been unbelievably coachable. He's let his guard down, and we've been able to keep his confidence high, which it should be right now for sure, while correcting him and getting this game better, which is the ultimate goal for everyone.
It's interesting that you say that he's let his guard down with his teammates. Is that something that you've noticed or something that you were told initially when you got here?
Well, it's projection it's what I've been told from a lot of people, and then I've noticed since he's been in the building a difference from then and now. Since we first got here and since April 4th started, I've noticed that directly, and then a lot of people have spoke on it, that we're seeing a different side of him, and he's kind of coming into his own as a young man in terms of his personality and It's again, I can't state it enough. I don't think people give that position its due for how hard it is. Yeah, there's a lot of acclaim. You get a lot of free dinners when you go out to eat and things like that. But everyone has an opinion, and you're in charge of delivering the responsibility and executing from the snap the football to every player on the offense, and doing it with defenses these days are so multiple and they present so many problems. And oh, by the way, you're doing all this, and if you are indecisive, you are going to have your helmet hit off your shoulders because it's a physical part too. So that's why I'm so pumped. I know all of it. He's gained all of the new players on our offense, new to the Miami Dolphins organization. They're new to Tua like me. I know he's gained their respect, that you can feel it. Players know when they're around good players, and it's been very cool to watch him and the rest of the team really grow together, because we've gotten a lot closer in these 6 OTA, 2 minicamp, and 2 voluntary minicamps, that it feels like light years ago when we first started.
So that's that feeling that players were telling, Nick, that this just feels different. This feels special when they're talking about the locker room. The camaraderie is already being built. That's why I told Nick, and I'll tell all you, this is the foundation of how you build a sustainable winner. It starts with the chemistry. It starts with the locker room, and obviously accumulating enough talent, and then that spills out on to the field, because you want every guy to give their blood, sweat, and tears for every other player that lines up next to him, and for the coaching staff. And it seems like what this is turning into. We are getting into a culture where our players are going to give 110% for the guy next to them, as well as our coaching staff. And that's a different kind of buy-in. That's a winner's buy-in.
Mike, Wes Welker had mentioned that there have been sessions early on where you and the offensive staff got together to talk about ways to maximize those weapons you have. How much do you push yourself, and how much do you push your offensive assistants creativity, as far as creativity in terms of coming up with new stuff? Obviously, most plays have been run in the NFL we've seen before. How much do you push yourself from a creative standpoint, and have you ever written a play down on a napkin, out of curiosity?
No, because of my specific background and the coaches I was fortunate enough to be around, the being creative and innovative is something that I think is part of the job, that it's natural for my brain.
That's how you create wrinkles when teams catch on to your stuff.
To the point that I actually,
you got to stay creative.
Pulling back, that I don't get bored. Something that my previous boss always gave me a hard time with, because I'd always be trying to do the next, and I haven't mastered that yet. So I've been, when you're trying to install a new system to a group of guys, you want, the bottom line is, you could have the coolest plays that ever existed, but if the players don't execute them, your plays are not cool. So systematically, I've been trying to really push forward, having a core basis, make sure all that stuff is, you have a working basis from which you can grow. And outside of that, I'm not really looking to innovate anytime until you're getting through your core portion of the training camp. But yeah, it doesn't ever leave. You're always, I have my iPad or my iPhone note app is my go-to.
Yeah.
And sorry, I got sweat in my eyes. So I'll write down whatever play I'm referring to, and if it's that abstract and there's no word for it, I usually just put some symbols, and that's my note taking. Maybe 1 or 2 in the morning in bed, when my wife is being annoyed that my screen's too bright.
I'm not going to go into specifics here because I was asked not to, but I posted this on the Patreon, and I'll tell you guys this. I've heard specifically in terms of this offensive playbook and the installs, that McDaniel is running things that have existed in the Shanahan McDaniel era before Jimmy G that they couldn't run in San Francisco because of Jimmy G's limitations. But they've installed these concepts into this offense with Tua. So what does that tell you right there? That they got more faith in Tua's arm as a passer and just him overall as a passer than what they had in Jimmy G as a passer. So I can't go into specific details because I can go far more specific on it. I was told far more about the details of this. But I will just say this, that McDaniel is installing into this offense plays that had to be taken out of the San Francisco offense because Jimmy G was seen as too limited as a passer to run them. And they're running them with Tua. So that tells you the faith they have in Tua as a passer. So this whole media thing, it's not smoke and mirrors. McDaniel and the staff actually do believe in Tua and what he can do in this offense. It's on the Patreon if you are on our Patreon.
Like talking about underscores, like old school symbols, like front slashes and back slashes, those type of things. Just create a triangle with a front slash and a back slash,
Coach, as the offensive play caller, how have you enjoyed the competition going up against the defensive signal callers like Landon Roberts, Javon Hall, whoever's making defensive calls? How have you enjoyed that competition between yourself and those guys?
Well, this isn't there's no player coaches, so they are passing along the play call, but Josh is still calling it. But yeah, that's a fun part of the process. You try to approach it in a way that you can allow your players to play, and while challenge them to a degree. It's impossible not to go through the process of what you're expecting. So it's always interesting to guess and check with no stakes and be like, yeah, I totally thought this was coming. Here's why. It can be a very valuable process if you approach it that way. I think Josh and I work very well together, and we talk through that stuff so you can kind of see how people view things from the other side of the coin. And it's fun to see how the players respond, because every other play you see in practice, when it's not when all the players aren't off the field, guys have the night to prepare. They're sitting there and looking at what it is. There's no preparation, because up until that period, I don't know what I'm going to call, neither does Josh, but that's a fun process that, just like everything else in football, you're almost, I don't know, I don't get that excited when stuff works, because then I'm like, okay, there's going to be a humbling experience coming here soon, which is the nature of our business.
Mike,
final question here.
I'm sure it's no surprise to you that there are questions about Tua's ability to go deep. And you have two guys who can definitely get behind defenses. Based on what you've seen, how confident are you that Tua can deliver it that deep and deliver it accurately, like we saw today with that one pass to Hill, for example?
So you're saying there was a good deep ball today?
There was.
Were you pretty confident that it would be completed? There was a couple. Here's the thing about quarterback that I always think is funny, that you can only design plays that the quarterback has time to throw. And generally, within the time of the play, from a historical perspective, you can't get a receiver down the field past, 55, 60 yards when in what we call one-hitch timing.
What have I been telling you guys? All these people overblowing these highlight 60-yard bombs, and what I keep telling you guys? Give me elite efficiency, because how many times are you going to be bombing the ball 60, 70, 50 yards a game? That opportunity might present itself once a game if you're lucky. Maybe 2 times on a really good day. But here's the coach telling you listen, we don't design our offense and we don't practice like we're going to get 50 to 60 yard shots over and over again, because unless your offensive line is basically historically holding up, you're not going to have the time to do that. But please keep telling this fan base how much we need 60, 70 yard bombs.
So it's about, you have to have a prerequisite arm strength to be able to throw it 60, in my opinion. And then if you're not going to be able to anticipate and you have to see something happen before you do it, you probably need to throw 70.
Yeah.
Because you have to wait to see it, and then the receiver gets down further. Hopefully you have the protection. The way we've always operated since.
So what he's saying, what he means by that, okay, if you need to if you can't anticipate a 60-yard throw, you got to throw it 70 yards. What he's basically telling you guys is, if a quarterback has high anticipation skills and high level anticipation skills, right? That 60-yard throw, they know the spot they got to throw it at is probably, that ball's got to be out no later than the 40-45. They know the spot. They know what they need to see and where they need to be looking and when they need to see it by. But this is what I keep telling you guys. Josh Rosen, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen. These guys, they can afford to be late on throws because they have stronger arms. So what he's saying is, if you can't anticipate, you better have a strong arm, because you're going to have to throw it farther than a guy who can anticipate it. That's why Tua, to make up for that strong arm, that rocket he doesn't have, that's where his anticipation needs to come in and be elite. Because when you can anticipate throws at an elite level, you don't need a rocket arm. You know where to throw the ball. It all comes down to timing. It literally comes down to what the defense is showing you and timing. That's all it comes down to. So, that's why it's so key that Tua can anticipate, because he doesn't have the rocket. He can't afford to make a late read. A Justin Herbert can afford to make a late read with his arm, right? That's basically how it works.
2005 when I got in the league, is if a quarterback can see the defense and is accurate, then you just see if he can throw it 60 yards. I think he might have had a 55-yarder today, but that's why you hear no cause for concern at all from the players, because they know that too. Like, he's plenty fast, and the great thing is he sees the field. He's not throwing the ball 85 yards, but I don't see the practical application of an 85-yard thrower unless you have the best offensive line in the history of football, and a defense is poor to add-on rushers when you're max protected.
Look he just basically mocked all the big throw notion. Like, if I'm going to bomb it 80 yards, okay, well, guess what? Then I need a historically good offensive line, and probably going up against a historically poor defense. And again, he called an 85-yard thrower not even practical. And again, that's in his offense. So people can continue making a big deal of something that isn't even practical to our scheme and what we want to do offensively. And then finally, guys, this interesting article from Melvin Ingram. Signing with the Dolphins ended the uncertainty for Melvin Ingram. Give him a chance to continue playing the game he loves with a team that ought to challenge for a playoff spot. Put another $4 million in his bank account too. Those are the obvious reasons Ingram is happy to be a Dolphin. The reasons any player might cite. Then there's a deeper, more personal reason. The one that sounded so improbable all those years ago and seemed even more so today as the pipe dream becomes reality. See, Melvin Ingram's father predicted much of this when Melvin was a baby. Called it the sharpest eye any NFL scout could ever hope to have, but he told his wife and friends that the baby before them would someday play in the NFL. They laughed. He didn't care. If George Melvin Ingram Jr. friends called him Shaq, really wanted to go out on a limb, he would have been specific. Not only would his son play pro football, but it would be for the Miami Dolphins. That was Dad's dream after all. Man, I thought about him a lot, Melvin said Wednesday after attending his first Dolphins minicamp workout. This would be a perfect story if not for fate. As 9-year-old Melvin Ingram looked on, his father succumbed to a heart attack. So yes, as Melvin Ingram, former Pro Bowl pass rusher, closed in on his free agent contract with the Dolphins, he couldn't help but reflect because he wasn't joining just any team. If he was here to see this, man, it'd be crazy, Ingram said. But I know he's smiling down. He's happy. I know this. Sports fandom is rarely rooted in logic. So Melvin has no logical explanation for why the patriarch of his family, rooted in North Carolina, would pick the Dolphins. I don't know how he picked the Dolphins, but he loved them, Ingram said. So now it's dope to be here. The marriage nearly came to fruition last year, but instead, Ingram ended up joining the Pittsburgh Steelers. Things didn't work out, and by midseason, the Steelers traded him to the KC Chiefs. Steelers coach Mike Tomlin said at this time, it's better to have volunteers than it is to have hostages. Upon arriving in KC, Ingram took the high road, calling the Pittsburgh experience a blessing. The book on his 2021 season depends on his point of view. He finished with just 2 sacks, yet PFF rated him as the 13th best edge rusher, ahead of Vikings Daniel Hunter and new teammate Emmanuel Ogbah, who was 20th. Now 33, Ingram has had injury issues in recent seasons, but gave an optimistic report Wednesday. He spent the workout participating in some individual drills, which is the team's plan for him until training camp opens up in July. It's still me, he said. I'm 200% healthy. I feel amazing, ready to rock and roll. That would be a plus for a Dolphins defense that already boasts Ogbah and Jalen Phillips coming off the edge. Ingram arrives with 51 career sacks, Ogbah with 36 as the next best total on the team. Ingram also brings Pro Bowl credentials from 2017 to 2019, while with the Chargers in 2 seasons with 10.5 sacks. Steve Spagnuolo, the Chiefs' veteran defensive coordinator, once said Ingram plays angry, a comment that doesn't make Ingram angry at all. I feel like everybody plays angry, he said, but this is a very violent sport and you have to be angry. That's what the game comes with. It's a way to release anger legally. There was a time that Ingram was hit with the franchise player tag by the Chargers. This offseason, he floated in no man's land until the second wave of free agency. But that's all behind him. Where else would you want to be? He said, standing under a blazing sun, yet wearing a sweatshirt. The grace of God, he said, made this deal come together. Everything from the training staff to the coaches to the people up top, the players, everything. He said when asked what's attracted him to Miami. It's a first-class organization. It's just something I want to be a part of, and it's a blessing to even be here. A blessing and a perfect postscript to a father's dream. I mean, that makes me cheer for Melvin Ingram even more this season. I hope he has even more of a successful year just so he can stick around and live out his years with the Dolphins, because clearly that's what his dad would have wanted, because he was one of us. His father was one of us. So that's honestly like just a heartwarming, awesome little piece of news, man. So, man, great stuff. Guys, here's the deal. Next week is going to be a big week. I'm going to be dropping a lot of content that I'm starting to plan out for next week. For Owen McKinley, I might actually drop 2 film studies next week. So a lot of content is planned for next week that I'll be creating and putting out to you guys. In regards to when I'll be going live next, I'm going to be live either tomorrow night or sometime Saturday. But we'll look at it and we'll see if it works out for tomorrow night. Listen, I had over 600 of you join me today. We had over almost 800 people in the room yesterday. Listen, I appreciate all of you guys for continuing to support the channel. You guys mean the world to me, my Phinside fam. And check your pulse. If you're not hyped about the season, I don't know what's going to get you hyped. But this season is about to be a freaking movie, and I can't wait to share that journey with all of you. And as we continue to watch the Dolphins turn into a legitimate contender right before our eyes, and like I said, by year 2 or year 3 of this offense and this team that's being put together, we're going to have something real here. And I think we got something real in year 1. So hopefully we can add another one right next to these two on the shelf there, right? Guys, I appreciate y'all for coming out. As always, stay happy, healthy, safe, and blessed. Y'all already know what time it is. Fins up all day, every day. And I will see each and every one of you on the next one. Peace, everyone. Love y'all. Stay good.